Your Majesty. King Graham?
Oh, yes, Minister,
Gervain, sire.
Of course. My apologies, Gervain.
Not necessary, Your Majesty. After all, I've been your security and defense minister for but a short while.
Yes. Where did you say you were from again?
Just some small, insignificant land to the far south. Pales greatly in comparison to your realm, my lord.
Ah, do you have something to report?
As a matter of fact, my liege, there's a small concern regarding the duty shifts of some of the castle guards and of the countryside patrols. Also, we are expecting our armed entourage from our nearest neighbor to return within the week. And there is the matter of an alliance with... My liege?
My apologies again, Minister Gervain. Please, continue.
Yes. As I was saying, there is the matter of an alliance with Hesperia. They've become a strong nation now, and it may be prudent to show our willingness to support them, lest they decide we are more of a hindrance than a help.
Does the king there have any daughters who've come of age?
I do not believe so, sire. As for the security arrangements for the royal ball held last week, I do believe the evening went by very smoothly. I dare say just about every princess in this region attended, and not one lost slipper, to coin a phrase.
Ugh, please, do not remind me.
Indeed, they were none too fetching. Would you like me to go over your plans for today, my lord? Very well.
Oh, forgive me once again. I am afraid that my mind wanders much these days. I wonder if my predecessor experienced times like these.
No doubt. Though I did not know King Edward the Benevolent personally, I understand he was a happy and astute man during his married life, before his wife passed away, that is. If I may be so bold, perhaps my lord is feeling that certain rooms in his castle are somewhat sparsely filled. The throne room, for example, and other rooms that serve but a single soul, like your dining room and your bed chambers.
Perhaps, but I do fear I've met no such candidates that would fill the rooms you have mentioned.
You should not lose heart, Your Majesty. If you pause to reflect for but a moment, you may see clearly what is hidden to others.
You gaze into the mirror. The minister's words seem to echo in your head, if you pause to reflect for but a moment. Not that you've been doing much else lately. For many weeks now, you've been reflecting over the direction your life has taken. While Daventry has prospered under your wise leadership, so far your existence has been a dreadfully lonely one. Wait, the mirror is changing. As you watch, you begin to see a series of images, though you struggle to fathom their meaning. You recognize the landscape. It is Kalima, a land not far from Daventry. You see the most beautiful woman you have ever set eyes upon. Somehow you can feel her sadness and her intense desire to leave that place. She is a prisoner in that tower.
Did you find what you were looking for, sire?
I require my ship ready for transport, Gervain. I shall be going on a trip presently.
Indeed. Where shall I tell the captain you'll be heading?
To Kolyma. I have to find someone.
I see. Well, if you must go, it is my duty to ensure that you leave prepared. Arm yourself, sire. I hear Kolyma is not the safe haven it once was.
Of course. I shall take the sword of the first king, as is my right.
A wise precaution, sire. And, if I may be so brash to ask, who might you be seeking?
If all goes well, my bride.
Father,
Sister Agatha,
how may I be of service?
an opportunity has arisen, sister. I trust you still have your captive held securely away.
Of course.
A bit cruel keeping him locked away like that, do you not think?
No. How dare she flaunt her beauty in front of all to see? Her foolish male admirers see her and forget that I was the most beautiful of all in my day.
And in your own special way, you are still beautiful.
You devil!
That is not an unfair description.
Now, you mentioned a service, I believe.
Yes, the King of Daventry has advised his faithful minister that he shall be departing for Kolyma presently. On a quest, you might say.
Really? What kind?
The kind that involves sticking his neck out to rescue a damsel in distress.
And what have I to do with his neck?
Put simply, my dear, sever it.
A day's journeying from Daventry has found you by the shores of Kolyma. Your ship, the Grand Thethor, and its crew have deposited you and will return the day after tomorrow. Hopefully this will give you enough time to locate and release the imprisoned woman you saw in the magic mirror. Your vessel has safely transported you from your homeland of Daventry, finally depositing you on this pier in the land of Kolyma. As you watch the flagship of your fleet depart with pride, you also sense anxiety building within you. Once it is gone, you will be quite alone in this country. Some crates have been unloaded at the end of the pier. You do not know where they came from, except certainly not from your vessel. The labels are in a foreign language you don't understand. A length of rope lies next to the crates at the end of the pier. A net has been caught around one of the pier's pylons. You have no need to carry water. You untangle the net from the pylon and take it with you. One of the trees here seems to be growing around some rocks. The large mound of rocks here has failed to prevent this majestic tree from thriving to a grand old age. Bushes abound in the forest. There is a sizable hole in one of the trees. When you peer into the hole of the pine tree, you see a mallet lying there. You pick it up and take it with you. The sign reads, Kalima. It is likely that this haystack was piled here by farmers from the town. A faded blue sheet has been tightly stretched across it to prevent the straw from blowing away in the wind.
Hey!
What? Who said that?
I did!
Huh?
I'm down here, in the hay!
Oh. Well, who are you?
My name is,
Yes?
I can't seem to remember.
Well then, what are you?
Oh, I'm
Yes?
Can't seem to remember that either.
Well, what are you doing in this haystack?
That's easy. I was looking for,
You can't remember.
no. Sorry.
How long have you been in there?
Let's see. It couldn't be longer than,
Yes?
3, maybe 4 weeks?
Weeks?
Yep.
Pardon me for saying, but you sound as if you have a bit of a cold.
Yes. It's all this hay. It's giving me hay fever.
You see a man bending over the fountain. He appears to be trying to retrieve something from it.
Aha! Got him.
A tall statue of a man stands prominently at the entrance of town. It looks to have been placed here quite a number of years ago. The statue bears a plaque which reads, Count Kaldor, ruler and protector of Kalima. The merchant has a distinct out-of-town appearance and a get-out-of-town aroma.
Greetings, merchant.
Ah, to you, good day. Shh. A visitor arrived new, no? A sense I possess for these things. Need you have for my wares of great specialty?
Perhaps, but first, I'm curious. Where did you come by such a pumpkin?
Eyes quite keen, have you? Indeed, a specimen unique it is.
Be quiet.
The gift of speech among plants so rare, yes?
Quite so. Are you planning to sell it?
Sell? Never would I sell such a thing as this.
It'll make me incredibly rich.
I mean, entrusted it was to my care. Watch over it, I must.
Mama! Take me back to my mama!
Forget it. I'm not taking you back to that patch. So pipe down.
Pardon?
Ah, of importance I speak not. Trouble to your ears I meant none.
The sign reads Kalima Library. The stylized windows in this town are lovely. Piles upon piles of unstacked books lay scattered around the library. Piles of... Presumably, these pull-out drawers contain an index card system for locating books. As you watch the pendulum swing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you feel a bit lightheaded. You glance at the titles on this shelf. Remember the Triton, an autobiography from the ruler of the Mer people. Icebergs and unsinkable ships. The Legends of Weirwood Forest. Trolls and Bridges, an obsession explained. Guidebook to the Land of Tamir. A Tale of the Flanneled One. Apparently, this book is about the author of a 6-part space opera. Livin' La Vida Loca. How Not to Turn a Novel into a Film. See Dune. Curses and Counter Curses, and How Not to Get Them Confused. 101 Things to Do When You Are Lonely. You're not even going to touch this one. Let's get physical. With what, you wonder? Modern Inventions Monthly. This month's edition focuses on an essay entitled Reinventing the Wheel. Shrimps and barbecues, an inexplicable connection. Carnivorous plants. When and what to feed them without arousing suspicion. It is written by a man named Seymour Krelborn. Cooking tips for singles. While you are single and you can't cook, you still have no need of this book. At least, not with the entire kitchen staff at your disposal back home. Even rotten tomatoes deserve a little respect. Remember the Triton, an autobiography. You glance at the titles on this shelf, revealing the truth about seeing unicorns and something about oneself in the process. Future's History, the true story of Space Quest 12. Gullible's Travels. A guide to bushranging, safety tips on robbery while wearing a metal box on your head. The Theory of Relativity, and other half-baked crackpot ideas. Arrival of the ancients were their origins of this world. That seems like a silly title. Where else would they have come from? The stars? Chronicling the Longest Journey, or How to Sustain a Compelling Story When Your Lead Character Sounds Like an Airhead. Magic for the Layman. All you need is a good book. Dragon Slaying for Dummies. Dwarves are from Mars, elves are from Venus. The Taming of the Shrew. Jousting and other party games. The Beginner's Guide to Buying Your First Horse. Drunks and Monks, How to Tell Them Apart. Quest for Glory, A Hero's Death. 10 Easy Steps to Owning Your Own Castle. Revealing the Truth About Seeing Unicorns, and something about one's icebergs and You glance at the titles on this shelf. Chronicles of the Brady Bunch. Interesting, this book has a warning label. Prolonged exposure may cause irreparable damage to your perception of reality. A Traveler's Guide to Ludor. You skim through the book. It describes a small town which serves as a port of call for passing ships. Apparently, it is under the jurisdiction of a wizard who was not at all popular with the locals. Selling your wares without selling yourself. The art of being a lowly merchant and feeling proud of it. Mildly curious, you open the book. The first chapter is entitled, The Truth of Falsity. It begins to describe how to make a totally worthless item seem like a must-have for the gullible buyer. A later chapter entitled, The Serious Business of Talking Funny, details how to adopt a foreign accent and use fragmented grammar to convince the same gullible buyer that you are not just some ordinary con artist trying to make a quick gold. Eusphoria, the many that became one. This book tells of how, over time, the realm of Eusphoria ceased to be a multitude of feuding regions and became a united kingdom. Once unable to defend itself, even as a whole, it now has a large standing army. The present lord of the realm is said to be kind, generous, and wise. The art of becoming a portcullis to portcullis salesman. Melodies for minstrels. Ooga Booga Land and other undesirable travel destinations. The Carpenter's Handbook. The Big Book of British Smiles. Chronicles of the Brady Bunch. A rather plump and stern-looking woman is seated behind the desk. Every so often, she glances away and appears to lose her train of thought. The monotony of being a librarian must be getting to her.
May I help you?
Yes, I was hoping to enrich my knowledge of this fair land by way of perusing your historical texts.
My, that was well put.
No.
Not terribly effective, though.
Pardon me, perhaps I was not clear?
You were.
Then may I?
No.
Why can't I?
You are not a member.
Well then, can I become a member?
No.
Why can I not become a member?
We already have far too many members. It's difficult to keep track of everything.
How many members are there?
2.
If I may inquire, who are your 2 members?
You may not. Neither the Count of Kalima nor the elderly gentleman who lives next door would approve of my divulging that information to you.
Ah, thank you anyway. You mentioned the Count of Kalima is a member of this library.
Yes.
Have you seen him recently?
The librarian looks at you strangely.
No.
Is there any way I might meet the Count?
Yes!
How?
Die!
I would have to die to meet the Count?
Depends.
On what?
Your importance.
And if I am important?
Then you might be fortunate enough to be buried on his estate.
Who is buried on the Count's estate?
Counts.
Aha. Past Counts, of course. Anyone else?
Yes.
Who?
Him.
Pardon? Do you mean the Count is dead?
The librarian decides to avoid your gaze and seems disinclined to speak further with you on the subject. The librarian seems disinclined to speak further with you. The librarian. Piles upon piles. You're kidding, right? Not even Mary Poppins could clean this mess up. You have no desire to stop the clock. Perhaps you should leave locating books to the librarian. You would not know where to start. Perhaps the librarian could be of help here. There appears to be a sign on the door, but you need to get closer to read it. The door is plain and has a mail slot. It also has a sign posted on it. You read it. You also notice something sticking out from under the door. The town continues to the east away, but you are not interested in what lies in that direction. You can't quite get your fingers on whatever is visible under the door. You can't quite get your fingers on whatever is visible under the door. This is the sword of the first king of Daventry. It dates back almost 1,000 years and has been passed down from king to king since that time. Try not to damage it. A magnificent clear crystal is embedded within its hilt. The fishing net is fashioned from a material that is unfamiliar to you. It is well made. The head of the mallet is made of iron. It has a long wooden handle. Making sure that no one is watching, you slide your thin blade under the door and draw out what appears to be a letter. You open the letter and read it. Dear applicant, please find enclosed the library membership card to which you are now entitled. The 5-year application process has concluded, and we are pleased to inform you that your status as a member of the town library is confirmed. Welcome to an exclusive group of patrons. Yours sincerely, Town Librarian. P.S. Please sign your name on the card to ensure validation. It is a simple quill standing in its ink pot. You quickly grab the quill while the librarian isn't looking and sign your name on the blank library card. You replace the quill before the librarian notices it missing.
Will you accept this?
Yes, you are younger than I expected.
I eat well and get a lot of exercise.
I see.
So, what do I do now?
Borrow.
You mean I can take books from this library?
No.
Oh,
Yes?
could you recommend a good book?
There.
The librarian has placed the book on the desk for you to read. Thoughtful, isn't she? This book is entitled Kalima, Perfect One Day, Better the Next. Browsing through it, you notice an interesting excerpt. This pumpkin is somewhat larger than the others in the patch. You look for a nice, large pumpkin to take from the patch.
Hey, watch it!
Oh, sorry. I was not aware you could talk.
Likewise. Anyway, be careful where you're treading. You're spoiling the good soil by standing so close. And I got 8 kids to feed.
You glance at the smaller pumpkins. These must be her children.
I only count 7.
Yeah, well, I had 8. Then some strange man who spoke even stranger came by. He claimed to be a horticulturist. Claimed to know a bit about plants. I let him take a look at my little darlings. Anyway, before I knew it, he'd gone and pinched one of my babies. Took off towards the town, he did. Of all the naive. Just because we're plants doesn't mean we don't deserve any respect.
I am sure that is true. Pardon me for asking, but how did you come by the ability to talk?
With a question like that, I might ask you to sign.
I was only...
I don't take it personal. That old witch Agatha cast a spell on me so I could guide her precious possessions.
Hagatha?
Yeah, she's the old bag who lives in that cave to the west. You know her type. Green warts, pointed ears, cannibalistic, doesn't put her trash out. Just your stereotypical evil old crown.
She sounds pleasant. You mentioned something about guarding Hagatha's precious possessions.
At least what she considers precious. I reckon they're anything but. Mind you, I have my doubts about Hagatha's legitimate ownership of this stuff, if you know what I mean.
What sorts of items does Hagatha wish you to guard?
Oh, the usual vanities. All useless in my opinion. But what would I know?
The mother pumpkin looks distressed. You decide not to interrupt her at the moment. To the north, you notice a little clearing near the back of a small cave. You have run into an evil enchanter. Get out of here fast before he turns you into something. Repress. You see a little girl wandering around the meadow. She wears a ruby red cloak and appears to be searching for something.
Hello, who are you?
My name is Graham. What is yours?
Possum. That is what my grandma calls me. She is not at all well these days. I was collecting flowers for her, but now I cannot anymore.
Why is that?
My basket is missing. I've looked everywhere for it. It must be around here somewhere.
I will keep my eye out for it.
Thank you, Graham.
I was wondering, could you tell me anything about this land?
You mean Kalima? There is a town to the northeast, and a church not far south of that. Grandma and I live in a house near the beach. You should not enter the swamp to the north. It is said to be influenced by magic. Many have easily lost their way in there, and finding your way out again is difficult.
Thank you, Possum. Is there any way at all through this swamp?
I do not know, but I did see someone walking out of there not long ago. He was writing something in a book as he walked.
Who was that?
A monk from the church.
You mentioned that your grandma is not well. What ails her?
I'm not sure, but I think it gives her sad dreams. While she sleeps, sometimes she talks out loud. Sometimes I listen to her. No, do not leave me, she says. At first, I thought she was speaking to me. I would go over to her, but she would not notice me. Then I realized it was a dream. I think she misses the person she talks to in her sleep. And then there's the scary dreams.
You mentioned that your grandma had scary dreams. What are these dreams about?
Bats.
Bats?
Yes, in her sleep, she screams with fright, as if a bat is chasing her, or she's being hurt by one. Then she'll say something like, "Blue light is the bat's true bane," over and over.
Blue light? What does she mean?
I have asked her this, but she just shakes her head and will not speak of it.
Thank you, Possum. I wish your grandma a swift recovery.
Thank you, Gram. I will speak of you to her.
You have nothing more to say to Possum. You peer behind the plant. Lo and behold, you have found the little girl's missing basket. You take the basket. You hand the basket to Possum.
Thank you, kind sir. Please take this flower. I'm afraid it's all I have to give you.
It is more than enough. I notice that you have picked only yellow flowers.
Of course. Is it not customary for one to pick yellow flowers for another who is gravely ill?
Certainly it is. I'm sorry to hear about your grandma, Possum.
Thank you. Goodbye.
You had better note that in your log. You notice a log lying on the beach. You look under the log and discover a clam lying beneath it. You pick it up. It is a signed library card. The yellow flower is very pretty, but has a sickly smell. This is just an ordinary clam shell. There doesn't seem to be anything special about it. You open the clam and discover, to your surprise, a dazzling pearl. This item cannot be used on itself. The shiny, beautiful pearl seems to radiate a soft glow. It is a mailbox. This is the first time you have ever set eyes upon one, which isn't surprising. The postal system won't be invented for another few centuries to come. The residents of this land must either possess clairvoyance or just simply be ahead of their time. You open the mailbox. Inside there is, incredibly, a letter addressed to the resident. You decide to leave it in there. A card has been dropped in it also. You read it. You replace the card and close the mailbox. This large fallen log is all that remains of a once grand tree. This large fallen... You peer into the depths of the dark hole. As luck would have it, you discover a beautiful set of earrings hidden inside. Each one is laced with glittering diamonds and contains a lovely blue sapphire stone in the center. Perhaps someone stashed them here. At any rate, you take them into your possession. Three gold coins shimmer in a nearby patch of grass. You notice a thick rope dangling loosely against the trunk of the tree. Upon closer inspection, you see that the rope actually runs away from the tree and into the thick grass on the forest floor. This is obviously a trap. As you pick up the gold coins, they suddenly turn dark. Now they resemble ordinary metal. Wait a minute. This isn't gold. It's fool's gold. A beautiful stained glass window depicts a radiant full moon. It is certainly one of the more unique images you have seen on a church. You have come to the Church of Kolyma. It is said that all are welcome and that the monks living here often help those in need. The door appears to be barred from the inside. The church must not be open at this time. You get no response. The door appears to be barred from the inside. The church must not be open at this time. The diamond and sapphire earrings are very delicate. Each earring has a large sapphire surrounded by glittering diamonds. The gold has now gone dark and resembles ordinary worthless metal. This is fool's gold, which would make you quite the fool. The fool's gold again shines the instant the coins leave your hand.
Three coins in the fountain.
What? Let me see.
The baby pumpkin seems a little more settled than it was with the merchant, but you sense it still wants to get home.
My baby! Mama! Thank you,
Graham.
Thank you, Graham. Here, take this. Maybe this useless trinket of Haggathis will be of some use to you. Serves you right for not enabling me to protect my kids.
The pumpkin hands you a gold brooch with a beautiful blue sapphire.
Is there anything more I can do for you?
Me thirsty, Mama. Now that you mention it, my baby is feeling a bit poorly. After all, living in a bowl ain't too good for your health, you know.
No, I did not know that. What would make your baby feel better?
Fresh water, naturally.
Of course.
Not too sweet, though. In fact, the more bitter, the better. My children are very particular about what they drink.
I will see what I can do.
A large lemon tree grows by the path. You reach out and pluck a large, juicy-looking lemon from the tree. You have run into an evil enchanter. Get out of here fast before he turns you into something. It is a simple clay bowl. You fill the bowl with the fresh spring water. It is a natural spring flowing from the rocks. A pool of water collects at the base. It is a lemon. Its juice has a bitter taste. After using your sword to cut the lemon's surface, you squeeze some of its juice into the bowl. Then you discard the lemon. You pour the bitter water over the baby pumpkin. It seems to like that.
Thank you again, Graham. Here, take this.
The pumpkin reaches into her head and pulls out a candle, which she then hands to you.
That thing has been jammed in my head for as long as I can remember. I know it ain't much, but maybe you'll find some use for it.
Thank you.
Don't mention it. Besides, it's really hard for me to sleep with that thing lit up inside my head all night. A word of warning. Haggatha has been talking about you. I heard her mention your name while she was muttering to herself. She does that when she's inspected her valuables. Anyway, I'd stay clear out of her way if I were you.
I appreciate the advice. Will Haggatha not be angered when she discovers you've given your candle away?
What's she gonna do? Turn into a pumpkin?
Good point.
Besides, I could just blame the dwarf. He's earned himself a bad reputation from the day he moved here. Pity no one can catch him, not even Hagatha.
If I may ask...
Appreciate all you've done, Graham, but I want to spend some quality time with my children. Now be a good boy and run some other errand.
A beautiful, majestic white swan gracefully glides across the lake. The small pond is a beautiful feature in this part of the forest. You imagine a variety of bird life would find this a very suitable place to travel for the breeding season. What an adorable baby swan! It is a baby bird, and not a terribly pretty one at that. The best place to attempt that would be from the lower bank. The best place to attempt that would be from the lower bank. You walk into position and try to catch the baby bird. You throw the net over the pond, and the baby bird is caught unharmed. It is a baby bird, and not a... You release the little bird into the pond. A white feather lies on the ground near the pond. You pick up the white feather and put it carefully away. Oddly, the short path runs up to the mountain wall here, but leads nowhere else. Incredible. The door you have discovered has taken on the appearance of a face. It is silent, however, and almost seems to be waiting for something.
Greetings. I am King Graham of Daventry. Would you, by any chance, know of the way to a strange island on which stands a quartz tower in which a beautiful woman is being held captive?
You feel more than a little foolish. Surely a door, even one with a face, would neither hear nor understand you.
I am the door of destiny. I am sought out by many, found by few, and opened by none so far. For indeed, only once can I be opened. Such is the magic that I am. Through me will you find the destiny you seek, if you can but perform a task.
Anything!
You feel intense exuberance that you have come so close to your goal in such a short time.
You must bring me the gems of nature.
I beg your pardon?
The stone door rumbles from deep within. For a time, it says nothing. And then...
Gems of 3 I ask of thee to fetch, collect, and bring to me. In water shall you find the first, though not the type to quench your thirst. Spy the second, high in the sky, with wings or no, thou still must fly. Through swampy mire, so it is heard, in lone dark castle lies the third. Should you succeed, my noble king, to your fair maiden I will bring. I warn you though, you should beware, a danger cloaked awaits you there.
Without warning, the stony face falls silent. As you watch, it gradually smooths out to become the mountainside face once more. You notice that, within the door, 3 shallow indentations have sunk into the rock's surface. Presumably, the 3 gems of nature must fit here. Now all you have to do is find them. How did that poem go again? A piece of paper has blown here in the wind. The paper is torn and dirty. It looks like a flyer of some sort. You smooth out the torn and tattered paper and read, "Curios I have, to the town do come, awaiting I am." The merchant has a distinct out-of-town appearance and a get-out-of-town aroma.
Greetings again, merchant.
Yes, many greetings. Need you have now for my wares of great specialty?
What wares do you sell, good merchant?
For yourself, behold them.
You look over the merchant's wares of great specialty and quickly reevaluate them as junk.
You seem to have quite a selection of, well, quite a selection.
A keen eye have you. In an item or two provoke interest, I might?
A daunting task. Rather, by all means.
This I have.
You appraise the object he holds up to you. It is a simple shell, intricately fashioned into the shape of a cone. The workmanship is unlike anything you have ever seen.
Fascinating. Where did you find such a thing?
Oh, old it is. From ancient times descends. Valuable, without question. Royal property, former, to be sure.
You consider his story. Then you begin wondering which beach he found it on.
If I were to, say, purchase the shell, what would it cost?
A trifle would you expend. 7 golds.
I fear that I did not bring any money.
Curiosity, I find, in one who travels but with nothing to barter brings.
Good point.
Might you trade the shell comb for something?
The merchant ponders over this for a moment.
Of value, many things are. Of fancy, only one I have.
And that is?
Pearls. From curiosity, have you knowledge of the speaking pumpkin that once sat here? Misplaced it has become.
Speaking pumpkin? Oh, that. No, I do not see it anywhere. Sorry. Is this yours?
Ah, keen eyes you have. For that, a reward shall you receive.
And that would be?
The pleasure you will have in doing business with me.
Would you be interested in this pearl?
Indeed, I would. In return, the shell I present to you. May you be always groomed well.
The merchant grabs the pearl and tosses the shell comb to you. Then he saunters off. History will decide how greatly you were just swindled.
Oh, what a beauty! This will be worth a fortune back home.
How ingenious! It's a shell which has been intricately fashioned into something resembling a comb.
Yes?
Could you recommend another good book?
There!
The librarian has placed the book. This book is entitled Way Below Your League, A Look at Sentient Aquatic Life. Browsing through it, you notice an interesting excerpt. This horse must have skipped lunch.